Once again, thanks for all my good friends in here. I bring along my friends in here. I work in a healthcare tech company. My role for the healthcare tech company is to drive better healthcare changes in many times. So a lot of time I get involved into discussion about healthcare. What about AI? AI, is it something that I have to do every day? Absolutely. Today morning I went for a long run with a couple of my friends and I look at my Apple Watch and I look at, okay, how many miles I'm running. The more I look at my watch and I look at my heart rate, and besides my heart rate, there's always a beeping and say, hey, are you running really, really hot? Are you running really slow? And I'm keep worried about, is it AI messing my life up? Absolutely, they're trying to get involved into my life. But at the end of the day, AI is a part of our life. AI is also part of to improve for corporations, improving the workers' productivity. And besides that, they have huge effect on to bring together a more of a better model for us to do AI and sustainability. Today I bring my few guests in here, so I'm going to let them to introduce themselves. Again, just very quickly, just 1 minute to introduce what you do. Yajuan, you're going to start first.
Sure, actually very happy to have this chance to meet everyone here and share. Okay, yeah. Super honored to be here and share my view here. So I have been in the AI field for more than 15 years. So I will see myself as an AI practitioner. So most of my professional journey in healthcare did spin out a couple years in the corporate investment banking and also clean energy domain. Right now I'm in a fund company also doing the ML.
Thanks for having me. My name is Dušan. I run Innovation Outpost here in Silicon Valley for Swiss company. We're biggest telecommunication and IT service provider. This year we acquired an Italian company, which makes the second biggest also in Italy. And I focus on innovation, corporate innovation. Sustainability is part of it. And one of my passions is also cybersecurity. So I'm also in that.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Dr. Gail Ferreira. I'm here in the Silicon Valley, and my focus is on AI data strategy and innovation. I currently own my own company where I'm focusing on creating strategies for organizations who are moving into AI, and I'm currently affiliated with Carnegie Mellon Heinz College, their chief data AI officer information program. So I am involved with them as well, and am doing some current research on sustainable AI.
Hello, everyone. Name is Brett. I'm an investor from Security Capital. We invest in AI, cybersecurity, technology infrastructure, and I wore another hat. I was a founder before joining them, and my startup was in sustainability, so it was a lithium battery recycling startup. So that gave me good perspective. And before that, I was a corp dev and M&A in this renewable energy space. So that gave me another about 5 years credibility in the space. So before that, I was engineering consultant, working for mining and oil and gas. I'll lead into that when I talk about the innovation that we're seeing. But yeah, just happy to be here and share my views. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I come from Beijing. I'm not living in the Silicon Valley, but I am also a startup founder. I have my own AI plus education project in China, and I'm now seeking to expand our project to global market. And I'm also a science fiction writer, and I really love to explore into the next generation technology field, and that is also related to my science fiction writing.
Thank you all. Well, I'm not a traditional, typical kind of panelist moderator. I like to ask tough questions. Tough questions that I get them prepared along the way. So, again, they're going to have some answers that kind of shocked me too, because the question I sent it to them is about a week ago. And I decided to change my mind on some of them because I like more twist. So the tough question I'm going to start with them is, so for me, for you, for your organization to represent, AI transformation for business, what works and what does not work? Tell me more. Yajuan, you want to start first?
Sure. Okay. I think I can share is that actually AI is not something new, right? AI has been evolving for quite a long time. It just I think recent this ChatGPT raised like people's awareness and then really wow moment. Actually, also it's kind of a pivot moment for AI practitioners. Say, oh, wow, it really have a even bigger power. So I will just say like for current range, definitely kind of AI already used to do lots of prediction maintenance or other things along the way. But I would say like for this kind of a Gen AI part, one of biggest thing I can see in the past healthcare domain or other domains, Gen AI can help to improve a lot of kind of a productivity and also workflow optimizations. Think about in the healthcare domain, like providers, they have a very super cognitive overload and also tight agenda. Leverage upon those Gen AI really can free up their time and then really refocus the time to deliver the cares. So that's just kind of one view. Same thing can do in different kind of enterprise workplace. I will let others share.
Great. So, Dušan, what do you think? What
Well,
works and what doesn't work? You want to say something?
I think,
work?
to be honest, experimenting works really well. Everyone experiments really well. When it comes to putting in production, measuring KPIs, making sure that we're getting really value out of it, it's more challenging. I wouldn't say it doesn't work, but it's more challenging, and we're getting there slowly. Another thing that I want to mention is when we say AI, the definition of AI and what is it, and Gen AI, non-deterministic, deterministic, people tend to think mostly about Gen AI, right? Now about the agents. So I think education, I would say last 12 months probably got much better in terms of understanding, hey, what is it good for? What do we do with AI? What Gen AI? Which value can we generate for which use cases internally can we use it versus, traditional deterministic machine learning and other algorithms. So I think that's getting much better, but I think it's a long way to go to do that across the entire organization. Certain parts of organization are there, working well, but then the rest needs to catch up.
Thank you, Dušan. Gail, what do you think?
Yes, well, I definitely agree that you need the quantitative measures, in terms of KPIs and SLAs and all of that in place to test the effectiveness of the speed to innovation. But just like any other kind of digital transformation, you have to focus on the qualitative measures as well in terms of really working with your culture within the organization, making sure that you have the right communication and change management strategies in place. So, adding on to the education piece, but also just really having people understand that really AI is their friend, because there's a lot of fear in the workplace now with AI coming in so quickly. Everyone's always afraid of losing their jobs, right? Losing their positions, any kinds of tensions like that. So you definitely need to make sure that you're working with your people and working with your culture to make them agree to put the change in place, because without that, it could be the most innovative technology, but if the people in your organization don't accept that, then it will not be successful.
Right. So I probably offer a little bit perspective from our day-to-day investment thesis selection. So something really working so far, we see that if the data has been available for the last 10 years, and then people building that for the last 5 years, that's enough structured data and unstructured data that can be leveraged into machine learning training process, and then now Gen AI. But fundamentally, it's the same high quality data can give you that additional layer of analytics precision. Something we've seen haven't been really, so for example, AdTech, MarTech, those are digital world products that already been pumping data for 10, 15 years, and those industries are well positioned to take on this new AI. Well, not really new, but more agentic AI approach. I think more traditional industry where the data has been sparse, the unstructured data has been dominant in the field, and people couldn't really clean up or collect effectively and use for trading purposes. I think those are industries that are lagging the adoption in Gen AI. So I think those areas I think are more interesting because it's worth building in right now. Other than I wouldn't recommend another BDR AI right now because there are lots of them. But just for contrast, if someone building an industrial AI for manufacturing or for preventive maintenance that are for the next level of precision, I think that would be interesting. So I guess people can look at it from data readiness versus data getting ready. Yeah.
We utilize AI a lot in everyday work because we are now doing some developing. We had game. We use a game engine to develop our product, and we use AI GC to generate a lot of content for us, and also we use AI to help us to formulate our teaching courses. So in everyday life, I asked all my staff, all my employees to use AI in their everyday job. But we feel that AI, Gen AI is still not good enough to really replace people. So we can only use them as kind of an assistant and to help us to promote our efficiency. But I do think that AI can be really, really helpful in education. Now I'm doing AI plus education because in education, the most scarce resource is the best teachers. So we try to use digital teachers to help students all over. I hope help students all over the world. So I think that probably can be a big step in the equality of education.
Thank you. Now it's my turn to ask the audience a tough questions. I think we all kind of here after great pizza. You gotta have a soda, have some pies, have some milk tea. Now ask the question of the audience. Who has an answer about how long does it take to train a ChatGPT-4 model? Anyone in the audience? How many days to train a model from OpenAI from Sam? Sam gave an answer earlier. Anyone knows about how many days to train a model? Originally, yes.
3 months.
Very good. How much power does it take to train that model?
So unsustainable data centers, so 0.
Okay. Now, let's think about if you don't have that sustainability model, if you just go back to traditional data center model, how much energy requires to train it? A lot of energy. I think the energy requirements in there to train a model in there will take about 5,000 homes in 1 year. That's a big number. And for us, I do ChatGPT sometimes, I get to answer my boss question. I just load the question and just cut and paste and see what they come back with. With a 100-word reply, there's enough power to power on a light bulb. 100-watt light bulb for 1 hour. So imagine how much power it requires. The data already start doing this, and I keep thinking about, am I going to go back to the good old days doing web search, going to Google search and doing that? I probably would not. So from myself, I lead a tech team, a security team. And from these fine leaders in here, AI is part of our life. What do you think about AI and sustainability? This is the tough question now. AI and sustainability, what does the corporation has to really think outside the box? Anyone can raise a mic. I don't have to go in sequence, please. Yeah.
I can speak to that a little bit. I think it's a good time. As I previously mentioned, the data abundance has been barrier for some industry to adopt AI. So I think right around last 2 years, I've seen a lot of innovative approach in addressing AI into sustainability issue or industry. So mining, oil and gas, I've seen company has been doing much better modeling of the subsurface, which means they can drill a lot faster, more precisely. So it cut in the energy consumption, cut in the capital cost, and also just faster, and then better ROI, and in a way that you're saving the carbon from the drilling energy and all the mobilization cost. So bioengineering innovation using AI. So using Gen AI to propose candidates for catalyst, microorganism for enzyme or bacteria for recycling or waste decomposition, that's a big sector, actually, because in the past, we're lacking that power to meaningfully screen down to like high quality candidate for bacteria stream for plastic decomposition. That's one of the biggest challenge. I think last 2 years have seen 5 startups doing that. And they're being very effective, not using chemical approach, but more biological approach, decompose plastic at a speed that never seen before. So that's something I'm really excited about, because they're really applying the blunt force power of AI. That means that you can, using the computation to run 10,000 of candidate without, and in the past, in the lab, you probably run a few a day. Right now, you can run a lot faster, screen down them really fast, and give you the high quality candidate for a true innovation in the space. So I think, using AI for material science development, bioengineering development, those are truly inspiring sector that I will personally be very, close follow to, yeah.
And I'd like to add to that, with RSA going on next week, I think we need to talk about how AI is being used to really for cybersecurity and risk management. Going and using all the existing data, all the existing audit reports of risks and issues that could occur, and how it's being used to thwart against AI. So I think next week, for those of you who are going to RSA, you're going to see a lot of interesting software out there that's being built by companies to do just that. And I think that will be really important going forward in order to really protect privacy and security of data, as well as your infrastructure and your cybersecurity, is using AI to game against AI. So.
And that's true too. This is a part of sustainability question too. Sustainability is about protecting the future state, right? Don't forget. The future state is defined by us. We are human beings. We train the model. We also we are the lawmaker. We write laws. Maybe, depending who is on the administration side. I don't want to get into politics at all. But you think about how that governs, how that endorsement and the day-to-day, big corporation, how they were willing to do that. I think those are part of the question of sustainability. Dušan, please.
We are very proud that we're the most sustainable telco in the world, a few years in a row. So this topic comes up, and it's very important for us. And the first thing that comes, okay, AI is coming, so more need for compute, so more energy, right? Yes. And so we look at it from different angles. One would be, okay, how do we make sure that we reduce that? And we see, models are getting more efficient. What do we do with that energy? For example, we have our data centers where all the heat goes back to the city and warms up the apartments and this kind of thing. So we think in advance, what is it today and where is it going and what are capacities? But to be honest, like one of the biggest challenges right now of our data centers, most data centers, is like we don't get enough, energy to power those systems. The other question is that we spend a lot of extra money there, is like which kind of energy do we then use, right? If we use a clean energy, that's obviously a smaller problem than if we use different kind of energy. So I would say it is like these two axes, like how do we reduce the spend? I think the answer is innovation and kind of getting better systems and models. And I think that's just a kind of curve of the innovation. And second one is which kind of energy do we use for it? So
absolutely. Yajuan?
Yeah, I will add on that. It's a very good point. And I also think about that for now, we kind of have a lot of cautious about the energy consumption, the AI. I think it's just a part of the technology evolving journeys, right? Because we are kind of in the way to chasing the scaling laws. We are seeing what we observe right now is like the larger model, the larger data, the larger computation, and then the better performance. But I think it also reached a certain point, like lots of kind of a practitioner and the industry government realize is that we need to do things in a smarter and also more efficient ways. How should we could keep pushing the scaling law curve and then improve like training efficiencies and also inference efficiencies, really reduce like a single query consumption of light bulb. That part. I think the second part is other panel already mentioned about is how could we leverage upon AI to keep push of those initiative and effort in the clean energy domain or climate domains, because that can help us to do lots of kind of disasters prediction ahead of time, or even better kind of like design a city in a smart city, right? That can play lots of role there. I would say like last part, circle back to education and also circle about the advocation part is how could we leverage upon AI to better kind of train or educate our next generations in a way, to smart user way, and also keep our whole kind of humanity and in a sustainable way.
Love it.
Can I just add one thing also to Brett's thought? Like I talk first, like how much do we worry about energy consumption, you know? But on the other hand, I want to give a positive example of using AI for being more sustainable. We also have Swisscom Ventures also invests in multiple spaces, and one of them is AI and robotics, and there is a company called Eco-Robotics, and what they do, they use AI to look at the farming, right, at the soil, and look at the weeds, and instead of just spraying all over, right, and contaminating the soil and the good plants, they're able to, they reduce 95%, because with the computer vision analyzing, okay, this is the wrong plant, we're spraying with high precision only that plant, and continue. So I think there are coming many solutions and technologies that are enable us that AI has this positive effect that we don't know the numbers, like how it's outbalanced, but we all assume, I think today, it's going to be positive over time, right? So,
great.
I'm not in the energy sector or technology sector. I'm in the human resource sector. So I mainly focus sustainability in the social development, especially about the job replacement problem issue. And for the next generation, I think they can catch up quite quickly with the AI trend, but for our generation, for the adults, it is a problem in a lot of areas. I think that we need for a lifelong education and training for everybody to catch up with all these AI development. Otherwise, there will be a big gap in the near future, that there's a lot of need in the AI technology people, and there will be jobless people who cannot catch up with this technology trend. Yeah.
Good. Well, a lot of thoughts in here. Well, I'm just going to bring back into the reality. Well, earlier we talked about training a GPT model. Now let's talk about next week going to be a ChatGPT, a brand new model. Every model comes up with every week. So we talk about power, the energy. What about cooling? Cooling is going to be a big problem. Water resources. We have enough water in California. My lawn is brown. I don't know why, but I think I have to figure out how to replace the lawn with some evergreen trees. So from that standpoint, what do you all think about going back to the equation, going back to the question about sustainability and corporate responsible way of how we do that? What do you think in the healthcare industry, or maybe in your industry? How do you think that you have to address the issue of water, power, and how can you drive that more sustainable solution? Bring back to the reality. Tell me the world that you're living in. How are you going to tell your boss, hey, let's not train this model? Are you going to tell them that your model is really bad because you're wasting energy? Or you can tell the boss, hey, let me go ahead and clean up the old data. Then we could train better so we can be more conscious of sustainability. Tell me what you think.
So let me make sure I follow the questions. Is that more related to like how a corporate function to further drive the AI in a sustainable way, or?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I think a couple different efforts probably prior we also touched. I think number one is that because in those fund companies right now keep pushing the scaling laws, right? So one big effort is that how could we kind of make a limited resource. We know the energy is limited here, right? And how could we make the limited resource, limited data center, but still keep pushing the scaling law? Then that means like we need some innovations in the training, model architecture, or other things like inference, right? That there need technology innovation there, and to train in more efficient way, or inference in a more efficient. Second part, I think we also touched before, is that how could we make sure like build those data center in a clean way, right? And in a green data center, and also bring the awareness for everybody, like Hugging Face have this green leaderboard to let people know for a certain model when they develop what is megawatts consumptions hours, right? So those awareness, well, first we need to have awareness, and second we can put action to change it. I would say like in a sustainable way, if we flip and do a different angles, I would say like each corporation, when we leverage upon the AIs, it also need to do in a responsible way. So it's a slightly different way to think about it, right? Make sure like what the solution developed is sustainable. Then it has the right framework put in place for like data governance, model governance, and also like the whole like risk assessment. So this thing, whatever developed, can put into action, keep kind of doing the benefit to our society and org. I will pass on.
For us, is when we look at our sustainability strategy, and the new one will be published, I think, mid-May. So I cannot tell all the details because we're making hype of it in Switzerland. It's very holistic view, right? It's not just about AI. When we look at critical infrastructure provider that has to power networks every second of the day, milliseconds, right? In today's, it's not just about AI. So I think that balance comes. It has to be looked at holistically. Where are the pluses and minuses, and how to balance it out? I don't think we can answer the question just, hey, how about the model and training the model? At least we as enterprise that is a user, and we use many more technologies, not just AI. So it has to cover, it has to be more broad, and it is more broad. If we think about thousands of people going out helping someone, well, they're using today electric cars, and what does it mean, versus the other fleet we had in the past? So I think it's way wider than just AI for us.
Yeah, and I would say, to add on to those thoughts, I agree with everything that was said about having sustainable practices where each person has a certain mindset, right? From the developers to the infrastructure architects to the CEOs, CIOs, et cetera, making sustainability a part of your everyday practice in terms of zero waste, and making sure that you have your practices in place where you're not really overusing resources. That would be the first thing. But since resources are going to be used, then really looking at the infrastructure, and in terms of your point, just like any other discipline in cybersecurity and data management, you always have your disaster recovery plan and your risk management plan to have your failover sites, to use different geographical regions that might have more resources, more water, cooling. So maybe you don't have your center in California, right? You have it somewhere with lots of water or things like that. So really using the same mindset in terms of the holistic approach, and your disaster recovery and your risk management plans in place, so that you can really be able to respond to the rapid surge in power use.
Yeah, so I look at it, maybe not so much from a corporate perspective, but I was a founder and now a VC, so I was looking for what's next still going to be, what's going to do next one. So cooling has been hot for 2 years. It's something that we don't invest a whole lot, but I track personally. So from cooling, like Dušan mentioned that they were using this heat sink approach to drive the heat already back to the data center. So that's already maxed out efficiency. And there's not a lot of new technology playing that, but it's more how to design it, right? More engineering approach. So right now, people are designing the cooling within the data center, even on the chip level. Like, can we do a micro heat sink that can just keep draw the heat out? And then, because right now we're reaching at a heat capacity maximum on the chip level, and that's bigger issue than your capital costs, or like if it goes at that you cannot remove the heat out of it, it becomes a heat bomb, right? So I think cooling has been really interesting innovation space for the last 2 years. And trust me, most of chemical engineers in the life don't have that kind of opportunity to be spotlight. Oh, cooling has been hot. So back to Yajuan's point, yeah, model distillation, small model rendering, different approach doing that. I think we look at quantization, layer removal, smart KV caching. They're hot space where you can run the smaller model without losing a whole lot of precisions. And for inferencing, that's really powerful. So I think this is good topic for innovation as well, because founders out there, I'm pretty sure they're doing something smart about that. So yeah, to be to be seen what's happening there.
I think we should calculate the energy use and resources use for the whole society, not only about AI, about big models. Because if we can use the big models to help the whole society to save energy, to be more cleaner, and to help with all the other issues, and then on the whole, that might be energy friendly and the resource friendly society.
Good. Wow, I learned so much. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even believe that I start off a lot of questions that I have. I never thought about to give me this kind of answer. So I promise that I will, at the end of this conversation here, I'll give the audience plenty of time to ask questions. But then I have startup founders in here. I hear problems. I hear that Jensen from NVIDIA didn't figure it out, the heat sink problem, because of heating. I heard about the governments, they even couldn't figure out the governance. I hear about from the Swiss, they keep thinking about pushing the envelope further. Now we have a lot of startup founders in here. I want to give this opportunity in here. We have brains in here. We have founders in here, VCs in here. What are the advice you have for a startup founder? Please, anyone can go first.
I can go. I have a long version, I have a short version. Which one do you guys want? I'll give us a long one. I guess people are already bored.
But the long one, it takes money, it costs money, okay, so because we're running all the time, okay?
I think that's the way that I look at my startup journey, and now I look at a lot of deals. Be clear on what you, like, are you gonna do a deep tech? Because this is very unique to sustainability, because you can go either two ways, right? You can do a deep tech deal that, like Luel mentioned, could have a 10-year development cycle, but you can also do a more B2B or easy commercializable product out of sustainability. I think first important thing is to figure out where you want to go, because it requires different resources, different expertise, and it's different ball game, right? So I think in day one, don't try to mingle these two, because these two do mingle. If you deep tech, then you should look for your true defensibility on the technology side. But if you want to build, AI for carbon capture credit accounting, right? Then just look at the market size, look at the viability, willing to pay of today, and potentially, what's driving it, and you can pretty much calculate the market TAM and your customer persona, all that stuff really quick, and that's a different approach doing it. So I would say, before you head on to a startup journey, be very clear on, which way you're gonna take, and look at the barrier and the hurdles along that way, and be prepared for that, right? Because if you're in deep tech, then make sure you have a couple years, head down in building. But if you're doing more commercialized approach, also prepare for that, because you need a lot of marketing in that space. So I would say, just be in the day one. Don't try to be doing this and that. Just choose one.
Please, Dušan.
One advice would be to get deeply curious about the problem before you get obsessed about your solution or idea that solution should be. That could, we heard the word pivot, right, many times, and that's going to happen. Like the original idea will not be your final idea, probably, or the product, how it look. But if you're really obsessed and deeply curious about the problem, you'll find a way.
That's good.
Yeah, and I would say, thinking from a product mindset, really having the empathy maps for your customer in place, and then going and if you have a product or a service, running short pilots and testing them out with your your customers as well to see how much they like it and how much they're engaged, and then pivoting from there using lean startup. So that's one idea that you could use.
Yeah, I will add on to some comments here. I think it's really important to know like what is problem it is going to be solved, right? Understand the problem, understand the customers, and from there I would say like also figure out what is the right technologies, and maybe you don't need like very fancy things, but you can start with small, right? At the same time, also pay attention to the, put some effort to also pay attention to how technology evolving, because as technology evolving, lots of things prior seems like a very infeasible and right now become very easy to do. So always find the niche point of the problem definition and also problem solving. And along that part, if it's truly using AI, I would highly recommend from day one to think about AI observabilities. That will help down the road to iterate the solution.
Yeah, I
also want to add one quick one. So since Yajuan already mentioned that, I'm gonna go for the long version. So be good about timing. So there are about 4 axes, how I look at things. So the bottom one is the fundamental speed of infrastructure technology change. The second one is how quick people can build product on top of that. Number 3 is the market adoption rate. And number 4 on top of that is your market economy, government regulatory driving force. It could be against you, it could be pro you, but those 4 axes are running at different speed. And then for your product to be right on, you don't want the underlying infrastructure too fast. That way, whatever you build today is going to be outdated the next day. And you wanted the adoption rate to be on the rise. And then your building speed also need to match with that. And lastly, you need to have some tailwind. Whereas if you see a headwind, then you need to mark the timing a lot better. So I think those are 4 axes I used to gauge if I were to do another startup. I want to find the perfect timing. For example, hydrogen, I think right now is not a good sector, but that was hot 2 years ago. But with new administration, I'm pretty sure it's going to take a stall. But if you were to think about an industry where you want to go into, think of that 4 things. That's the long version I was going to save for the later. But yes, now you have it.
save for later, please. Yeah.
I myself is a startup founder, so I do have some experiences in creating your product together with your customers. So that's possible nowadays. Beforehand, you need to design and build your products, and you try them in the market. But now with the help of AI and also with a lot of other technologies, we can really deeply involve with our customers, and for all the steps we can build products together, absorbing a lot of our customers' ideas and their opinions. So I think that with the help of AI, a lot of people, the companies were getting smaller and smaller. A lot of new startups may only have 4 or 5 people, and you can build your products much more easier these days. So that gives people a lot of chances to quickly build new products and to adapt with the market in deeper way.
Yeah, I find that too. I came from I worked for startup for 20 some years. I sold for 4 companies. So a lot of the times they are all work really well. Same idea across. And exit strategy for for a company is to really think about what does the product sells. The product sells because of customer. It's the customer side. And does the product sell because you're focusing on solving the problem, or you're focusing on the customer at the end of the day? It's really what makes sense for a startup founder to really think the other way. And that's how AI tech and sustainability AI tech should really focus. Does anyone want to add anything before I?
Just a small distinction that I think it's very important: technology versus product. Right? We get we find a way to solve a problem, but then how do we package it in something that can be used in the market? So I think that's very important. One where I see sometimes people really, but this works. I solved this problem. Yeah, but how can someone really use it?
Yep.
So that small distinction, I think it's very important.
Good. Well, the audience in here also have students. Let me gonna ask a tough question. What do you all feel if the student want to go into AI sustainability tech, or what would be your advice for them? Anyone you want to go?
I can go. I think as a founder, as ex-founder, I would say this is general for students that I apply to myself right now. If a skill that you foresee can be mastered by AI or robotic in the next 10 years, don't learn it.
What?
Yeah, just, you know.
Explain more, please.
Because you don't want to compete with machine end of the day, right? Because I'm in the late 30s, so I think I have like, I don't know, good 10 years to go. So I'm more carefree than that. But I think for kids today in their late teens or early 20s, do watch out for the easily replaceable skills. Because I do think it's coming to a point where that's how I see my kid. Like, if they grow up, I do think at the point they're going to have to be either master of the machine or not competing with the machine. Because the machine going to be a major component of the workforce that you don't want to be competing with certain tasks. So be just watching out for things that you don't need to learn, or if learning it doesn't really yield a long-term advantage. That's vague, but yeah, I think that's some gist in it.
Great point.
Yeah, and I would say, adding on to that thought, take AI out of the conversation. Just think about sustainability. What would you do for sustainability specifically, right, in terms of moving forward with the future and saving the planet, and without really even considering AI. So really having those practices in place where you're not wasting, you're not overusing resources, you're putting, you know, the right practices into your development, into your infrastructure, and things like that, with even if AI was not in the picture. So I think really having that mindset and the culture in place in your organization is the important thing to train the students going forward.
Thank you.
One, but it's a very general one, is to try many different things early. Like you might hit your passion in the first try, but it's more often than not that it's not going to happen. So go and explore different things. That would be one. And the other one, also general, is look who are the people around you that you can kind of look and or can spend time with them and learn. Kind of, yeah, is it a mentor or just a kind of person that it's great in that field that you think highly about, and just go and kind of, if you can shadow, ask questions. You will be surprised how many times people will say yes. So don't be shy and to ask.
I love that. Why? How? Please. I'm a student. I'm a lifelong student. Tell me where should I
think
start?
I will say it in two different ways. One will be just like I would say like AI will definitely transform our lives, right? I would say for students, take it as don't have any kind of I know for something like evolving so fast and have so much uncertainties, there's a fear, right? But anxious. But I'm thinking like embrace this as a tool, because it will be a tool to kind of improve our loss side of productivity, or even kind of change some of the prior job to a new jobs, right? Just be master to use AI as a tool, and then that will kind of give lots of our advantage going forward. I think I remember a word is AI will not replace jobs, right? AI will only those who can use AI well will replace other people who cannot. So I definitely, maybe it's very strong, but I definitely think it's a very good tool for us to adopt. And the second part, I would say like it's just a general. I think we are living in a VUCA world. If you search, it's like lots of changes. So just for students or even for me to educate the next generation is just to say, my son just said, it needs to be kind of have a lifelong learning attitude, and also like adaptable resilience. Those kind of characteristics will take us for a long way.
Great.
For me, I just want to advise all the students to try to use AI smartly, because AI can offer a lot of skills. I do agree that in a lot of fields we cannot compete with machines. But if you can use machines smartly, then you can always be, your capability can always be higher than the machine itself, because AI can provide only skills, just like technology is not a product. Skills is not the expertise in your everyday job. So you can, if the students can use all kinds of AI models very smartly, and they can always let the AIs help them to do better, more efficiently in their life. So I think don't be afraid of AIs. Just try to learn AIs and use AIs and let AI to be your friend and assistant. Human plus AI can always works better than AI itself.